We're here in 2021 today. Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy
New Year
New
to everyone.
Year!
Happy
New
Three Kings.
Year. Happy, oo nga, no? Hello. Nagwa-wave na yung mga screen natin.
So,
Yan.
or as some would say, happy one king and one queen.
Ganun na ba ngayon?
Kasi di ba, Three Kings is parents mo naman yan, di ba? So, happy
Ah.
one king and one queen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we learned something. Check.
I know, I learned something new today. Thank you.
Yeah, so before we proceed, welcome everyone. Before we proceed, would Cesca like to do the honors regarding the hashtags, the questions, and everything to introduce our episode today? And of course, our special guest ang nagbabalik na.
Mr. James Jimenez, thank you so much for joining us once again. Is he our first repeat guest?
Yes.
Yes, diba?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, James. And thank you to everyone joining us tonight on our very first episode of ChooseDay Tuesday for 2021. Of course, I'm joined by Goyo, Larrazabal, Pia Magalona, and we are still giving away burgers. All right, thank you so much to Sweet Ecstasy for always partnering with us for ChooseDay Tuesday. And you guys just have to use the hashtag ChooseDay, ChooseDay. And of course, hashtag SweetXManila. And meron pa ba tayong isa? Hashtag Goyo?
Ask Goyo.
Hashtag Ask Goyo. So just send in your questions, use those hashtags, and then later on, Goyo will be the one choosing who gets the burgers.
Yeah, so guys, if you noticed, we're on at 6 p.m.
Yes, we also moved our time slot.
For 2021. So something new, something different. Yeah, so those who are used to the 2 p.m. schedule before, yeah, tell your friends, tell everyone. And thank you also for watching the past episodes and also replaying them. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who watch it.
Yeah, looking forward to this year.
It's gonna be an interesting year.
Yes.
It's gonna be a really interesting year. So,
okay. So can we ask James again regarding registration? Yeah, during the holidays. Yeah, the past. Yeah, before the holidays.
Yeah. Earlier we were.
We'd like to appeal.
But first, let's go back to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020 we closed the registration December 29.
Yes.
By the time we closed December 29, we only had around 950,000 registrants who had filed their applications. 950,000. That's less than a million. Bumalik tayo, 950,000. Yes, sir. Bumalik tayo January 4, yesterday. Okay. And yesterday, our daily total only came to 12,000.
Wow.
All over.
All over. Nationwide. No, that's nationwide. There were some places in the country that had 0 applicants yesterday. So I'm leading with that is because I think we're at a very crucial point. Just to remind you guys, we need to get around 5 to 5.5 million people registered. You're talking about the 4 million people who are newly eligible. These are the kids who just turned 18.
Okay.
Who will be 18 on the day of the elections. And then there's 1 million and 1.5 million of people who need to be reactivated. These are the people who missed 2 elections in 2019. And so they've been stricken off the list. They have to get reactivated just to get back on the list. So that's about 5 to 5.5 million people. That's the number of people we expect to register until the end of September this year, 2021. Yes. Kaso, nasa 950,000 pa lang tayo. We haven't even reached the 1 million mark. So, that means that for the next 9 months, hahabol tayo ng mahigit 4 million registrants.
4 million?
4 million. Wow.
Yeah, so, remember when we mentioned the last time James was on, when we mentioned that we have a penchant for doing everything at the last minute cramming. So yeah, but that's too much cramming if you're gonna cram 4 million people. So guys, paalala lang. Because tell your seatmate.
lang yung mga tao ang factor dito, no? It's not just you're not just talking about the crowds of people. You're also talking about the capability of the system to accept the people. Mm-hmm. Parang imbudo kasi yan eh. It's like a funnel. If your funnel, if the outpipe of your funnel is this big, no matter how you cram people in there, you're not gonna get the throughput that you need, simply because the system isn't designed to handle that sort of load, and that's what we're afraid of. No, um, usually at the end of registration period, people are saying, you know what, we should have anticipated this.
Yes.
So yeah, but that's too much cramming.
Yeah, that's too much cramming, and that's too much of a burst that you're looking at, because like let's say you have a Comelec office that has 6 machines. In order to really make it maaliwalas with the kind of last day crowds that we get, you'd need at least 40 machines running all at the same time. What are you gonna do with 40 machines when it's off season? Diba? That's too much capacity naman. And then you're gonna shoot us at the ombudsman for saying that we spend too much on machines that you're not using. So ultimately, it's a question of really bleeding off the load habang matagal pa yung panahon. Which is why we're really pushing for people to register early, because we don't want to come to the point where you're having to choose between turning people away or staying open until, I don't know, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to process people.
That should not be an option.
Yeah, because remember also, and a lot of people forget this, the people on the other side of the counter are also people.
Yes.
May pamilya din yan. I mean, it's Comelec, and of course their government.
At saka ang health, ang health factor.
Okay, especially with COVID. I mean, their Comelec obviously higher standard and all of that. But at the end of the day, these are people who need rest also. And these are people who also are susceptible to disease, COVID, for instance. Kailangan, we should help each other by, again, spreading out the load so that we're not doing it all at the end of the process. Because believe it or not, registration and getting people listed up is just one of the many things that the Comelec's going to have to do this year. Okay? This year and the next, this will be the 2 busiest years for the Commission on Elections. And the reason for that is we have the elections in May 2022, but preparations for the elections have begun now. All right? In fact, they began last week, last year, right? So ngayon, we have lots of other things on our plate. Registration is just the one thing, and there are a lot of other things that need to be done. So, as I was saying earlier, if anyone is gonna push a get out the registrants campaign, something to mobilize them, now is the time to do it. Now is the window to do it.
You have to do that.
Yeah, so when you mentioned yung mga fresh registrants, kasi the young ones who just turned 18 first time, so factored in na rin yung mga hindi young ones pero first time nila mag-register, at saka yung for whatever reason, kasi we had a question last time, and I'm glad James is here again today, because there was a question about dual citizen. Paano mag-register yung dual citizen dito? Can you, kasi we know personally people who are such.
Sure. So dual citizens are fine. They can register, they can vote.
Yeah.
With dual citizenship is when they decide that they want to run for office.
Yes, that's
because a dual citizen cannot run for office. Dual citizens are fine. They can register. Yeah, they can register. So when they run for office, they're going to have to renounce the second citizenship.
Okay.
Renounce the foreign citizenship.
Oh.
But if they're just voting, okay lang yan.
What's the procedure for dual citizen?
It's the same. They're not even gonna be. It's not even gonna be an issue sa registration process kasi they can always put citizenship PHL, Filipino, right? I mean,
okay, yeah.
And walang special process for them because a lot of the dual citizens naman in the country, they live here, they have residences here, they have Philippine passports, they have Philippine IDs, so walang problema dyan. If they're overseas voters naman, well, they go to the embassy. That's where they register. But ultimately, being a dual citizen will not have an impact on their eligibility except when they decide to run.
They decide to run. Yeah.
Because when they run, it's, they have to renounce.
Okay, thanks for answering that.
Dal talaga.
So,
Kayo.
before we continue, no,
Okay.
Old school.
we discussed this with Dr. James. This is the new year, diba? Everybody goes in the new year. Na, my New Year's resolution is I will lose 10 pounds. My New Year's resolution is I will start going to the gym. My New Year's resolution is I will not eat burgers.
No.
Okay, so we parang there's now a trend that parang what your New Year's resolution is. I will register as a voter. I'll register as a voter, and I encourage people to register as a voter as well. That's doable, di ba? I mean, say, you're not even depriving yourself of good food, good sweet ecstasy burgers. You're not. You're spreading love.
Yes.
Across the world.
And positivity.
Positivity, kasi, di ba, you're empowering people. So,
yes.
I think that's my New Year's resolution. Encourage people to register and vote, so I can still eat food.
Yeah. So that will also be our New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing with this show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Diba? Yun yung point ng show na to para ma-encourage natin mga tao to go out and register. But also, before the restart of this particular episode, James already mentioned na may mga taong takot dahil may bagong strain nga ng virus and everything. But
Yes.
Aside from the satellite offices that you guys are planning to put up, ano yung ibang safety precautions ng COMELEC mismo to at least give the people some comfort na
Yes.
safe
Assurance.
sila. Yes, yung assurance na when they go register, may hindi naman delikado.
Hindi
Okay.
naman ganun nakakatakot.
May checklist ba diyan, Director James, na, okay, before I go to the COMELEC office, ito dapat gawin ko. Fill up ganyan,
Yes.
ganyan. Bring face mask, face shield,
Yes.
bring alcohol. What's your checklist na before you go out to COMELEC? Para sigurado, di ba?
Yeah, meron yan. Number one, meron kaming health declaration form, no? You need to fill up a health declaration form, and we have a very strict no face covering, no entry policy. And by face covering, we mean no face mask, no face shield. Doble-doble talaga yan. In fact, there are cases where people have been turned away because they didn't have any of these face coverings. And there are a lot of election officers who have taken the initiative of actually providing face masks and face coverings to people.
Yeah.
Oo, they have in the provinces, no? Not in Manila. In Manila kasi parang ang dami namang available na face mask. But in the provinces, it's a little harder to come by, I heard, no?
Yeah.
But in those cases, yung election officers natin mismo ang nagmimigay ng face shield at face mask. So, the reason for that is we don't let them in talaga. We literally don't let them in. And that's like the double-edged sword that we're having to deal with. On the one hand, it's keeping us safe, but on the other, it's keeping the numbers down. Think of it this way. In a COMELEC office that used to be able to handle 4 people simultaneously, you're now only able to handle 1 person at a time. So, kung dati yung capacity mo mataas, but because of COVID and because of the health protocols, all of a sudden, your productivity is dropped down to all zero, right? Kaya nga, for us, it's a double-edged sword. No, we try to keep you as safe as possible, and I guess we're seeing the cost of it. Kaya nga, napakahalaga na maipasok na natin yung satellite registration because ultimately, the reason why our productivity drops is because there's really nothing we can do about the size of our offices.
Okay.
Our offices are teeny tiny cubicles. I mean, there are some offices in big cities, obviously, that have nice buildings, etc. But by and large, throughout the country, the average size of a COMELEC office will accommodate only, with COVID precautions, just the 1 client per visit. 1 client at a time. Ang liit niyan.
Laking drop yun, di ba?
Yeah.
Ang laking drop nun.
So where are these satellite offices
Yes.
you're looking at? Because I remember that's where I actually reactivated mine in a mall. So why, my question is, why wasn't this thought of before? Just to repeat that same
Sure.
procedure.
Sure. It's not that it wasn't thought of. In fact, that's what we wanted to do from the very beginning. But there are stringent health measures necessary to be met, right? Criteria. Number one, the area where satellite registration is supposed to take place should have 0 cases for the last 14 days. Dun pa lang, tigok ka na eh. I mean, what area has had 0 cases for the last 14 days? Very few, very rare. Second, the whole area, the province should be under GCQ or MGCQ. MGCQ. Number 3, the facilities themselves will have to meet health criteria, which means they will have to have seats that are at least 2 meters apart. The seats will have to be separated by plastic barriers. Basically what you see in mass testing sites now. That's what registration centers will have to look like. At the start of this pandemic, around March, April, May, we tried to do that. But there's just no way it could be done. And the malls, remember, were closed. The malls were closed. Everyone was on lockdown. So even when we were able to start going out, we had the other criteria to worry about. Now, even though the malls had already said, yeah, we're willing to do that, we're willing to go through the stringent qualification procedures where, you know, they have to show us what their facilities are, and then we'd have to certify it. We'd have to get the barangay officials to certify the safety of the setup. Even if they were willing to do that, nandun tayo sa, teka, may COVID cases dyan sa kabilang barangay. So hindi na pwede. So all hindi na pwede. Kaya nga, that's the reason why we're very hopeful na itong year na to, especially with the last pronouncement of the president where parang only 11 areas remain under GCQ or everything else is under MGCQ. So that's a good development. And it gives us hope that at some point towards the end of the month, we will have a place that meets all of the criteria, particularly that 14-day 0 cases criteria. No? Admittedly, meron ng lugar na ganun ngayon. May mga lugar na ganun. But these are mostly in small and sparsely populated areas. And unfortunately, ang major effect ng satellite will be in densely populated areas. So kaya kami nahihirapan maghanap. Now, we're in constant communication with IATF and the Department of Health, and we're constantly trying to fine-tune these criteria. Hopefully, again, like I said, before the end of the month, makapag-roll out tayo ng satellite reg.
Wow.
And that will be a combination of several factors. Number one, yung streamline ng safety procedures will find what is acceptable for the health authorities versus what we can do as organizers of the satellite registration. Then we'll have to find a partner mall, because malls are the most obvious place to do it, that will be able to do this according to spec or according to what our requirements are. And then, of course, we'll have to promote that. Okay? Again, ang problema pa rin natin dito is even with satellite registration, you're still putting people at risk. Want to be very extra careful about it.
Okay. So considering everything, considering all the roadblocks that seems to be in our way to register voters, would you consider that 950,000 people registered is actually a good number? We say it doesn't mean
ideal.
It's not the goal.
It's not there. But let me say, it's despite the fact that there is a pandemic, despite the fact that people are reluctant to go out, 950,000 people still went out and registered as a voter. I think that's still pretty good, right?
That's a glass half empty, half full situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're such a positive guy. Si Goy. Di ba?
Tama. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. James.
Oh, you're not wrong. I mean, obviously, that's something to be thankful for. But I can't get away from the big picture kasi.
Yeah,
The
tama.
picture means that if we continue at this rate, then by the end of the registration period, you're looking at new registrants amounting to only something like 3 million. So we go from 61 million, boss. 61 million, bumagsak yan to about, right now, it's around 58 million na lang.
Kasi yung
deactivations.
Di ba? Oh, deactivated. Mga ganyan, di ba?
57 million. So ang susunod na halalan natin, if we only do around 3 million, then we're possibly looking at actually a reversal of the trend.
So from it goes down.
Yearly to going down. Diba? Okay, there's nothing technically wrong with that. Admittedly, okay lang yan. Ang ating electoral system is designed so that we don't have a minimum number of electors required. Okay? You can have an election with only one person voting and it still be a valid election. Yes. But the problem is that the outcome will be so shaky because the mandate will be so thin. So looking at the broader picture, the drive for more voters is actually also a drive for a stronger mandate for the next batch of officers, for the next batch of officials. Because the next batch of officials will need that mandate as they push us through the rest of this pandemic. Because otherwise, you'll have a minority government lumalabas. You know, a government that commands the loyalty of only a small segment of society will be a government that finds it very difficult to get any sort of cooperation. Now, I don't want to be politically incorrect, but if you remember, before automation, nung nagka-Hello Garci, do you remember how difficult it was for the Macapagal Arroyo administration to get anything done? Lahat ng gawin nila may reklamo, lahat ng gawin nila may pagdududa yung taong bayan. Cooperation with the public was low because the administration did not enjoy a mandate. Because the mandate was polluted. People thought that they shouldn't have won. But now, with automated elections, we've had successive governments with strong mandates. Kaya lahat ng nagagawa ngayon eh. Why? Because you have massive majorities. And the reason for that is you have a lot of voters. And a lot of voters are able to say, this is the kind of person we want running the government. Whether or not you agree with them, that's what the people say. And that's what we're fighting for when we push for more registrants.
Well, again, that's the right thing. No, there's a lot of things that can be done to encourage people to register as a voter.
The most important sana, boss, kung mapasa yung online registration. Yun talaga yun.
Yun ang maganda.
If online registration, well, online,
yes.
You'll see a sudden spike in registration. Yes. Because right now, that's what a lot of people are actually waiting for. Online registration. There is a pending law. I mean, you know, thank God for small mercies. There's a pending law that will allow online registration. Right now, kasi all we have is iRehistro.
Yes.
Which
is just a
booking.
Yeah. Pre-booking. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so it's an incomplete solution. So kung ma-push natin yung online registration, then that'll be good. The other thing we're doing is we're trying to get a national voter registration day declared.
What's that? National Voter Registration Day?
It's just a way of getting people's attention, focusing people's attention on voter registration, and making sure that across the board, all government instrumentalities are working for the same purpose, to get people registered. Siguro, We hope to make that happen around February or March. But
Maganda
you
yun.
have to have
I
a
like that.
big PR component.
That's a really great one.
It's like every National Anything Day,
Yes.
National Burger Day, to remind you it's
Exactly.
marketing.
Oo.
To remind you that burgers are
Before-
still around.
Before we move on, we need to clarify this ha. Kasi baka may mga taong mas lalong maghintay pa.
Oo nga, yeah. I
Okay,
was gonna say
what
that.
are the chances? Okay, just so we're clear, what are
Huwag
the
niyo hintayin
chances na matutuloy itong online voter registration before September? Kasi yun yung last month of registration natin, di ba? In case there are people who are thinking, ipapasa naman yan, sige, I'll wait for the online registration na lang.
Uy, don't do that.
Well,
Why? We have to clarify.
tapos na kami sa first reading. So hopefully we'll be scheduled for a second reading when Congress resumes session. What are the chances? Maybe in the latter half of the remaining time. No?
Wala na.
So you're talking about January to September. So that's 9 months. So maybe the last 4 months, baka may online na. So tama si Cesca, don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
You're holding your breath for this. No?
You missed the bus.
Exactly.
Okay. Parang mangyayari doon is, sorry but parang mangyayari doon is, I like a girl. I want to court her, but she lives across town. Like, for example, I live in Quezon City. She lives in Las Piñas. I'll wait for her to come to live
Someday.
in my village before I court her. Wala mangyayari. Wala na. Pausan ako ng oras. I mean, say, that's testing it, no? But, why wait, di ba? Grab the opportunity, di ba? Grab the opportunity to do it now.
Yes.
Baka unahan ka, di ba?
Ang maganda
You
nga,
can't say wala kang time. You have to make time talaga for important matters.
Okay, Dr. James, how long will it take to fill up an online form to book an appointment sa COMELEC? Usually, for example, I go to
iRehistro.
How long will it take to fill up the form, and how long will it take to how long will it take to fill up the form? 10 minutes? 5 minutes?
I timed myself 10 minutes. Tops.
10 minutes, okay. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. How long will it take to go to COMELEC, when you're in the COMELEC office, kasi may online appointment ka na, how long will it take to process your voter registration? Another 10 minutes?
5.
5? Oh my God. How long is an episode of Chloe?
I have no idea.
30 to 45, I think, or basta under an hour.
So if you're watching, if you're like that, diba, we can do multiple screens naman, diba? So if you're watching Chloe on your phone, on your
Laptop,
desktop, you can actually put a Windows aside, like fill up an online application form, diba? So you're not missing the show. You're watching Chloe, you're watching Cobra Kai, diba?
Oh my God, I love that show.
Diba?
Excited ako.
Tapos pagtingin mo sa form mo, nakalagay sa pangalan,
Yon Ben. Mrs. Yan Ben.
So you can do that. You can multitask. Pagkatapos doon, you're going to watch an episode now, but for example, you're supposed to go to COMELEC, you can watch naman the episode in your phone, right?
Yeah, you download it to your device.
Yes.
Pero
So,
wait,
while waiting for COMELEC, you can watch it, di ba?
pero paano yung part about printing? Hindi naman lahat ng tao may printer.
Yes.
Okay.
Saan?
Yeah,
And then, syempre, there's
Kasi
the matter of the
same,
specific type
that
of
GSM
paper.
Which we found. Wait, so if you were to go on the is there a way to save it to your device and then you go to like I don't even know if they exist.
Yes.
Printing
print shop.
Print shop.
Internet shop.
Pwede.
Oo.
You can
How?
you actually download a PDF of your application form. You download it, and that's the PDF that you open up and then you print.
When you're at the net shop.
When you're at the net shop.
Yeah.
Kaya nga, one of the things that I'm encouraging people to do is to set up print shops. Kasi, okay, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people are coming up to the COMELEC with all of these pie in the sky ideas about how to encourage people to register. You know, we'll make an ad, we'll make a PSA, we'll do this, we'll do that. And all of that is great. All of that is helpful. But what we really need right now is a way for people to be able to print these forms.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So if some NGO or if some CSO were to open up a kiosk somewhere that
Correct.
it was to print all of these forms, you know, that would be a major service, a major printing service. Sobrang ganun lang kasimple. You don't have to make PSAs, you don't have to make ads or whatever.
Tsaka that's additional income. Let's say, di ba, like, kunyari, bookstores, they have kasi, di ba, parang printing or something. Di ba, you can make
Parang
pa-print,
photocopy yan lang na
photocopy,
photocopy.
mga ganyan, di ba? So, additional service, pwede kang magpaano doon. So, dadami yung kita nila, di ba?
Yun.
If they're enterprising, then they can put a sign nga there na, print your registration forms here, di ba?
Exactly.
Because they have the right paper, they have the right.
Exactly. Right sukat, right everything.
Well,
Ang problema lang is there are some enterprising folks who print out the forms and sell them. So ngayon nagkakaroon ng thinking that the forms are for sale.
Yeah.
no, it's not. But Dr. James, my questions, for example, I fill up the online application form. Pero for one reason or another, yung aso ko kinain yung
Dog
Yung
eat your-
homework mo.
hindi na yan, wala na ako sa school. So, kinain yung paper ko. Can I still go to COMELEC and fill out a form there? No.
Yes, you can. But,
Handwritten.
Okay.
but boss,
Yes.
Tatagal ka.
if your dog ate the printout, then print it again. You have the file.
Yeah.
You saved it.
Kinigat rin yung wire ng printer.
Wait, so they can print ba at the COMELEC?
No, they can't print at the COMELEC, but we do have forms available.
Okay,
There.
so
So-
worst case scenario, if I fill up the form, but if I fill up the form, but for one reason or another, I am not able to print out an accomplished form to the COMELEC office, there is a form in COMELEC office which I can fill up.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
I was gonna say, because we have a comment from Miss
Tagal ka na.
Elizabeth Angchoco.
Okay.
Oh, wait. First, hi to Grace. She's watching. Rogelio says, hi, Mama Pia. And
Hello.
then, Miss Elizabeth Angchoco, hopefully magkaroon ng, talaga ng online registration. And then, pinagtawanan ka niya, Chloe naman, Goyo. And then, she also said, seriously, not everyone is tech savvy to download and print. Why can't COMELEC have forms ready for these people? But
And
now we know.
Yeah.
Pero
meron-
yun nga, it will just take longer. Pag
mas
dun talaga.
matatagalan sa...
This option is for those who can
Mm-mm.
go nga on the faster lane.
So yun yung point nung iRehistro para ma-fill up na yung form, magawa lahat except for the biometrics. Kaya ka pupunta mismo sa COMELEC para when you do go to COMELEC to register, sandali ka lang doon. Yung
Right.
mangyayari doon is if you get the form from COMELEC, mas matatagalan ka lang ng
Tama.
konti.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. When you go to the COMELEC without a form, right? What you need to do is you need to get in line.
Yes.
Form.
Wow.
Because people are not allowed to go in willy-nilly. You have to go in one at a time. So you have to wait in line to get the form. And then you have to get the form and you have to take it off to one side. Swerte ka, kung yung office ng COMELEC, malaki, merong space set aside for people to write. In some places, like for instance in Manila, people are actually sent home because we don't want them loitering around the office and filling up their forms on the floor. So they're actually sent home. Can you imagine if you're a senior citizen, you didn't have a form, you'd have to go home or you have to go somewhere where you can sit down and write on the form. Number 3, once you filled out the form, you have to get in line again to submit the form. And what if mali pa yung pagkaka-fill up mo? So back to square one ka, right? And while this process works pag walang pandemya, the thing is merong pandemya kasi. Di ba? Yun eh. We try to minimize the time that we spend in the COMELEC. In fact, 90% of the time that you spend in the COMELEC, if you're not like registering online, 90% of the time is in queues. Okay? Nakapila ka lang, naghihintay ka lang, and then mag-fill up ka ng form. Around, at last registration center I went to, ang sabi sa akin, people take about 30 to 45 minutes just to get the form completed.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow, that's a long time.
It's a long time. It's onerous. It's difficult. No, and there's no argument for efficiency either. Hindi mo naman pwedeng madaliin yung tao. If the person takes long to fill up, edi walang gagawin mo, diba? And remember, at this stage, wala nang crowding sa COMELEC office, precisely because you can't get in, right? So while we understand that the level of access to things like the internet and printers varies wildly across the social landscape, this is the hand that we've been dealt. Okay, the situation that we have, and we need to make the most of it. Kaya nga, ang request ko sa CSOs always is, we know that it's difficult for people to have access to these things. Then help them get access. You know, if you have the means, download the form and distribute the form, and then let them fill it up, or get their forms and then you print it. Pwede naman yan eh.
If there was an enterprising printer brand who partnered with the COMELEC, then they would be setting up stations nationwide.
If they were
printing,
they would not partner with COMELEC. They would partner with you guys.
Yeah. No, they would be outside, like, diba, these places where people can just print. Kasi isa pa, what takes it longer is hindi na sanay magsulat ang mga tao using, diba? Because everybody's just always on their phones. So mas matagal ka ngayon magsulat. So mas matagal ka ngayon mag-fill in ng form, diba? So kung sana halfway man lang, magawa mo na online and ma-save mo sa device mo, sana pagdating sa yung enterprising printer brand, magtayo siya sa lahat, advertising para sa kanya yon, at piniprint niya lahat doon, di ba?
We're not even discussing yet the people who can't even write.
Oh yeah.
There's also a significant portion of our population that's illiterate. Illiterate need
they go straight na to the COMELEC office. Pila na sila doon.
They can do that, no? But if they have an assistor with them at home, then they can take all night if they wanted to, right?
Right.
It will be easier for them. Pero again, on the day of your registration, when you go to the COMELEC and wala kang appointment, wala kang form, etc., yun yung crowd na sasalihan mo, right? And ultimately, what we want is for your stay in the COMELEC premises to be as minimal as possible. We want you to be in and out of there in 10 to 15 minutes if possible, because that's safest for you and safest for us.
Okay. Galing, no? But for me, I play the devil's advocate now. I think it's still impressive that 950,000 people went out to register within the period of time. It's less than this target, but it still shows that 950,000 people want to make a difference in this country. 950,000 new applicants for registration want and made a statement that, hey, I have a voice in this democracy. I will register as a voter. I will vote, and my voice will be heard. Diba?
Can I be the devil's advocate to the devil's advocate also?
Okay. Okay.
Just so
I won't be a devil's advocate to the devil's advocate to the devil's advocate. Okay.
Just so that we have a 360 view of the whole thing.
Yes.
One of the things that we do for voter education, at least the way we do it now, is we try to make it as real for people as possible. And the reality of the situation here is that not all of those people, Sir Pia, Cesca, not all of those people are registering for the noblest of motives.
Okay.
Some of them are actually registering because they want ayuda. Okay?
Oh.
Some of them are registering, and a lot of them are registering because it's a requirement for school. Not for some civics lesson, but for scholarships, for instance, for stipends. Okay, so there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
Flipping them from people who register for utilitarian reasons to registered voters who vote responsibly. No? So yun yung dual challenge natin dito. It's not just to get them there, but also to make sure that when they're there, they're there also for the right reasons. No?
Tama. So when you go there, this 950,000 people, we try to remind them that, hey, you're a registered voter. You might not have, you might do it because it's a requirement. You didn't really want to do it, but you have to do it because it's a requirement of a school or organization, etc. But you're already there. Make the most of it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Now, we have to get more people, aside from that 950,000, to register and vote to make a bigger difference. Tama ba?
Tama, sir. Tama. That's what you guys are doing.
We are doing. We're all part of this. We're all part of this endeavor to empower Filipinos.
Yes.
Tulong tayo.
Tama. Thank you, sir.
Sana na-i-inspire yung mga nanonood. Yeah.
And of course, kung may mga questions kayo while we have James with us today, send in your questions so we can have our experts answer them for you. And once again, don't forget you have a chance to win burgers today. Ako talaga yung hi Sweet X, I love you guys. And
Yes. Don't forget the hashtags.
don't forget the hashtags ChooseDay, CHOOSE, as in choose, pili ka dyan. ChooseDay and hashtag Ask Goyo and hashtag SweetXManila. And yes, what else do we have for James today?
Okay.
Kasi habang nandito siya,
Okay.
Oo nga
balikan
eh.
din naman natin siya.
Okay lang.
How do you reach out to the? How do
I
you?
had with me the other night.
Yan nga eh, yeah.
I saw.
It was a fun discussion. We talk about Chloe again. Why is it always Chloe? Okay.
It brings the people in.
Yes. But you should watch Cobra Kai, kanda yun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Sobrang excited.
we try to encourage people to register and vote. We try to make people understand the value of their voice in this debate.
Balikan naman natin siya.
But how do we do it such a way that we reach as many people as possible? We try to make people remind them that maybe, like James mentioned, maybe the intentions were not as many we'd like or some would like it to be, but they're already there. They're already registered as a voter, or they're going to register as a voter. They might as well maximize it. So how do we reach out to them in the different parts of the Philippines, especially, for example, in the area na walang internet, di ba? Yung data is not as through the phone, no, it's not as accessible. How do we reach out to the grassroots? The grassroots talaga ng mga tao na they don't care about politics. They don't care about current events, but they have opinions. So how do we get to them and to remind them that, hey, nakarehistro ka na ba? Nagrehistro ka na ba? Wa pa? Adto na sa COMELEC, di ba? How do we do that?
You know what, boss? In 2013, I walked from Lawag to Metro Manila.
That was I saw that. Ganda yun. Sobra.
Waka-waka.
Walk.
Yes.
You walk. He walked.
Yeah.
Did you bring an umbrella at least?
Oh yeah, I had the whole thing. I had the whole shebang. I had hat.
See? Pwede naman eh.
No, but I walked from Lawag, and one of the reasons for that was to generate attention for registration, because at the time we were pushing the no bio no boto campaign. Because at that time we were scheduled to delist everyone, no matter their voting history, as long as wala silang biometrics. So it was important that everyone got their biometrics taken.
Okay. Okay.
So I went. And one of the things I noticed is that a lot of the problems that we're grappling with now, even in our discussion, these are big city problems. Si Miss Beth, meron siyang follow-up comment.
Yes, I was
Kasi,
gonna read that.
oh,
Ayan. Miss Beth mentioned again, James, ang iniisip ko ay yung mga nasa communities. If COMELEC has ready forms and willing community groups can help distribute these forms. Pero paano kaya ang appointment?
yes, okay. So this is a largely a big city problem. I have to tell you, in the provinces, hindi sila ganun ka excited about the appointment system. Okay?
Yeah, of course.
Hindi sila, they don't see why they need to make an appointment. Because na-accommodate naman sila. Okay? So yung appointment system is necessary in Manila. It's necessary to speed things along sa Metro Manila. But for the majority of the country, well, at least geographically, majority of the country, hindi yan issue. Hindi yan malaking issue. Pero maganda yung idea ni Ma'am Beth.
Yeah.
To get forms and distribute it to them in the communities, that's fine. Hindi kailangan magpa-appointment, ma'am. Remember, even in Metro Manila, appointments are not required. They're not mandatory, is what I'm trying to say. You can actually walk in. Pwede yan. If you can walk in with a form, then that's very helpful. Okay? That's very helpful. Hindi mo kailangan ng appointment in the sense na wala kang appointment, go away. Hindi ganon. Okay? It's just that wala kang appointment, you're at the back of the line. So if you're willing to take that trade-off, then yes, definitely, pwede mag-walk in. Hindi issue yung appointments, no? And again, to be very frank, sa outside of NCR, in smaller places, smaller cities, smaller municipalities, wala kaming problema about people coming in without appointments. In fact, may mga areas ang COMELEC na hindi kami nagpapa-appointment at all. Okay? Simply because alam naman ng COMELEC na dun sa area na yon, yung mga tao hindi nagko-computer, hindi nag-i-internet. I mean, okay, the common mistake that many people make is saying, lahat naman may smartphone. Oh yeah, that's true. Lahat may smartphone, but they use it for other things. Hindi lahat yan ginagamit for mobile data.
Data. Wala silang
save the data for something else, diba?
Exactly. Yeah. Or they have other priorities, which is fair, which is fine. So yun po. Just to make it very clear, appointments are not mandatory. They are useful to speed things along if you're in the big cities.
Okay.
In the smaller cities, people go in and out without appointments. Ang problema lang talaga is that when you get to the office, very strict ang pasok ng tao. Okay? Hindi talaga pwedeng pumasok ng basta-basta. Meron kang may sunod-sunod yan na proseso.
Dr. James, may naisip ako.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Voter education to go to the different. Kasi I drive to some areas for delivery of relief goods, etc. It's a good time. It's a good thing to, if I go to an area, kasi we have civic activity, visit COMELEC. Check sa COMELEC office na dami bang tao, what can be done, anong mga concerns sila. So on the ground, punta ako doon para to encourage people right there on the ground to the municipality to, hey, register kayo, di ba? Wala pa burger, but may opportunity to register and vote. I think that will be okay, no? I think that will be okay, no?
Yes, sir. Okay yan.
So start in Mindanao. Gawin natin sa Mindanao yan. Mindanao. So encourage our fellow Filipinos sa Mindanao na magrehistro ato sa COMELEC para magparehistro as botante. Kung wa mo yung appointment, sige, kung kuha mo yung appointment, hindi mo kailangan, ato lang mo sa Comelec office, naipapil dito, fill up the form, pa-picture, pagkatapos get your biometrics, apply na kapag registered voter, di ba?
Yep.
Pwede.
At sir, congratulations. Kasi si Ma'am Beth, sabi niya, tutulong daw sila. So, yay!
Yay! Thank you!
The show made something happen talaga.
Yay!
Awesome.
Thank
you, Ma'am Beth.
Isn't that amazing? We're real time. We're making a difference. Real time. We're bringing people together for a common objective, for voter empowerment, and that's you don't get that opportunity all the time, and that's happening right now. And I feel good that we're off to a really good start. First episode of the year, first week of the year, and this is where we're headed. This is already what we've achieved. I mean, I'm happy.
Yes.
Yay.
Hey,
sorry, wala akong bell. I can't hit my about the wall. So okay. So how do we? I think we should try something. No, one of these days, let's take this on the road.
Wow.
Dr. James,
Yeah.
we'll be broadcasting from the different parts of the Philippines. We'll be saying like Luzon or Visayas or Mindanao na while talking, one of us will be in other parts of the Philippines, interacting with the locals, asking them what they think, di ba?
It's a barn, boss.
Yeah, barn talaga. Yeah, we need to go there.
This barn will have a watershed year in 2022. So
yeah, no?
We're gonna have parliamentary elections. Malaking bagay po yan.
Sige, we'll focus on that. We'll do that. But see, and right now we're discussing things that at the start of the show we were not yet talking. Now we do this, we do that, diba? Parang it's in motion that something good is happening. That's a great
That's why conversation is very important, diba? Conversation. Because we're not mind readers. We have to know what each person is thinking. And there are some issues that never even occurred to some of us. And and then that issue never occurred to us, but we actually have the solution to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And sana to the people who are watching, you can tell your friends, your family, your relatives, anyone about this show, because we do this every week. Well, I mean, we took a holiday break last week.
But
for
this
1 week, happens every Tuesday, and we usually have guests who you can, if you have any questions about voter registration, kasi yun naman talaga yung point ng show na to. If you have any questions about the upcoming elections, if you have any questions na, bakit we have James Jimenez with us now. And of course, naman lagi si Mr. Goyo Larrazabal. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So the whole point is also to inform, to educate, to get people to register, because this is your right. This is also a privilege for to be able to choose the future leaders of your nation.
Yes.
So we have a surprise next week.
Meron.
Surprise next week. We're gonna have something. Wala na ko. Let's take it on the road, diba? Let's take it on the road next week. So next week it's going to be something different. It's a different flavor next week. And I'll talk to Dr. James after this and ask. But we're gonna have something exciting next week. No, I'm not going to sing. No,
oh man, why not?
Pang end of the so September 30.
I tried yung pole natin, but the pole it fell down.
Yeah.
Sorry. So we're trying something exciting next week. And Dr. James had kicked off our year on the
nice.
And looking forward to what the year has ahead for us all, diba?
Yes. So before we wrap this show up, baka may mga parting words tayo from James. Again, please encourage everyone to register. Obviously, from the Comelec standpoint, what do you have for our watchers today?
I've already talked up a storm, so
Yes.
I'm just going to leave with registration is ongoing. It's from Monday to Thursday from 8 in the morning until 3 p.m. You can go to iRehistro to register, to fill up the forms online. And remember, when you go to the COMELEC, the no face covering, no entry policy is still in effect. Magparehistro kayo, huwag niyo sasayangin yung pagkakataon, maging bahagi ng demokrasya ng ating bayan. Mabuhay.
Yan.
Thank you so much,
Well
James.
said.
Jessica, any words before we to start the year, di ba? Any words of wisdom before we end?
Kung sino pa yung ako pa yung
Words of wisdom.
Hihingin mo ng words of wisdom. Ako nga yung natututo dito eh.
Ako naman, masasabi ko on like if people need ideas, like ako naisip ko for myself kasi meron usually mga village, merong Facebook group din, di ba?
Yes.
So doon ako magpapaalala and then tutulong din ako kasi I have the paper nga. I happen to have the paper, the particular paper, and I have a printer na I'm crazy for printers. So anyway, so those na, di ba, na walang access kahit yun lang, makakatulong kasi I always like ways na parang kung makakatulong ako, di ba, in the smallest way, sige, padala nyo lang or come over, di ba? I'm gonna encourage the villagers kung may kailangan sila. And then sana, yung iba rin nilang kakilala, they spread the word, they pass it on to 10 more people, and then those others have other villages then na pwede nilang i-apply sa kanila na ganon. So parang tulong-tulong, tapos it's a very neighborly thing to do pati, di ba? So I find it exciting na we can use it as, di ba, parang we're always finding ways na hindi ba tayo pwede mag-party or anything. Pero yun, at least may interaction ka pa rin sa tao. Kasi kahit yung hindi mo masyadong ka-close, di ba? Meron kayong naging exchange man lang, di ba? And then, nakakaano talaga yun eh. Boost ng hormones. Hormones ba yun? Or mga happy, whatever, kailangan. Dopamine. Yun. What do you think, guys?
Cesca.
Yeah, Cesca, ayan.
What's your new...
Bakit ako na what?
So how do you encourage people to register and vote?
I think it starts with being aware of current events. I think it starts with knowing what needs to change, what needs to be kept, and what probably needs maybe just a few tweaks here and there. Hindi naman kailangan complete overhaul yung ibang bagay, and there are other things na kailangan talagang mapalitan. So just kung hindi kayo apektado by what's been going on in your neighborhood, in your lives, and just around the nation as well, again, this is your choice to keep things as they are or to make things better. Nasa sa inyo na yun.
Tama.
Well said. Choose.
Yes, James.
Hi, before we go, I have a pitch to make. Right?
Okay.
I'm a former president of a Rotary Club.
Yes.
Mhm.
And one of the projects that we're doing now is we're setting up a kiosk precisely to help people print out their forms and to a certain extent help them get online. Again, it's a practical application of what I've been yapping about all evening.
Good. Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna hit you guys up for paper and a printer. But seriously, we're gonna do that, and I hope to be able to come back to promote it on your show. So
You will
Of course.
come back. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Yay.
This isn't going to be the last time you'll be on the show, James. Thank you so much.
Just a reminder, guys, it's still Tuesday. Pwede
Yes.
pa mamaya if you're watching Netflix or iTunes or TV, regular TV, you can open your laptop or switch on your desktop. You can register online while watching your favorite soap opera. And
Series.
Goyo na naman.
di na. Kingdom na ako.
Cobra Kai.
So yeah, so I want to also encourage the viewers to watch also our past episodes. Please, meron kayong mapipick up doon. And yeah, and ayun, so ipasa nyo rin sa ibang tao Maraming salamat for tuning
very much,
in.
guys.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.